Attention all students, historical black colleges, law universities such as Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Cornell, and especially Georgetown. It's a protest February 10th for the president to do his duties, as this has been filed in the courts. As president obligations, president violates his number one duty under Article 2, Section 3, to take care that the laws are faithfully executed, of which he has not done. As I said, he received this: Constitution's checks and balances, which uphold the integrity of the Constitution. And he did not do that. That's reason for a protest. February 10th, all students protest before the TV stations to give coverage, to prompt him to uphold his duty under the Constitution to see that the laws are executed. Now, as I said, this, he received certified mail. And here are the certified mail receipts. This one he received February 9th, 2021. That's a year ago. Today, February 7th, 2022. That's a year ago. 2 days, we ain't counting that. That's a year ago. The president fails in his duty to see that the laws are executed. And why? As I show you the second one, of which he received June the 16th, 2021. The president of the United States fails in his number one duty to see that the laws are executed. And why? Because I am empowered to stop police brutality. I am empowered to stop inequality for all HBCU schools celebrating Black History Month. It's time to stand up. You got to back it. You back me because I am a public figure. That's dollars and that's cents. Get dollars, you need to have some sense. You've been going about this the wrong way. So, same situation, ain't nothing changing. You need rearranging. New faces and places. The wisdom of elders. The way it needs to go down. And this is how you do it. See, I've been here a long time. We did this in the 1964 Civil Rights Act with Martin Luther King to get you those rights to education and new jobs, good jobs, taking care of good families. Yeah, but as the president fails in his duty, it is time for the students. Y'all go out, you the front line. That's right. Protest for the president to execute his duty under Article 2, Section 3, as he failed, as I said, to uphold the integrity of the Constitution. The judicial branch of government is corrupt. They must be checked. He doesn't honor the Constitution checks and balances. They get away with what they're getting away with because the checks and balances holds them accountable. The checks and balances secures the rights of we the people. And I am empowered to do that as I am a public figure, being the petitioner of the Constitution's checks and balances. Now that is by law of which the president must do his duty. He is obligated morally and by law. Morally is the code of ethics. The code of ethics state, put loyalty to the highest moral principles and to country above loyalty to government persons, party, or departments. Now, uphold the Constitution, laws, and legal regulations of the United States and of all governments therein, and never be a party to their evasion. And it goes down to number 1 where it states, expose corruption wherever discovered. The corruption is in the United States Supreme Court. When the United States Supreme Court is corrupt, and I'll show you this right here, is a habeas corpus. Petitioner is entitled to injunctive relief for my immediate release from illegal imprisonment with reparations from judgment of the proceedings in the Indiana-Vandenberg Circuit County Court that was so lawless that imprisonment pursuant to them is void, and therefore res judicata, meaning the previous judgment which imprisoned me, is inapplicable in a habeas corpus proceedings. Now, as you will see, they received this. And you will see this is the United States Supreme Court. For the rights of a black man, they cared nothing about. About the rules of law, they violated. This is reverting to the Maryland doctrine of exclusion to keep blacks subservient. Now, they didn't do it the first time, they had a second time to do it. And there you will see that was received. Office of the Clerk, Supreme Court of the United States. As you will see. Petitioner requires the judiciary to account for a man's imprisonment. The judiciary are the justices of the Supreme Court which must review and give judgment affirming or reversing the conviction. The petitioner's restraint is in violation of the Constitution and the laws of the United States and file a writ of habeas corpus. The writ's root principle is that government must always be accountable to the judiciary for a man's imprisonment. The judiciary is the judges. If the imprisonment cannot be shown to conform with the fundamental requirements of law, the individual is entitled to his immediate release. I was not released. Because, reverting back to the Maryland doctrine of exclusion, they cared nothing about the rights and the freedom, justice, and equality in America for a black man. Now, what I just shown to you is that by law, of which we will do this, which to Senator Todd Young of Indiana, reference to take the Constitution's checks and balances to the floor of the Senate tomorrow, January 20th, 2022. Imposed obligations for President Biden, whom has concealed this since February 8th, 2021. And you have delayed since December 8th, 2021. Now, Article 2, Section 3 imposes obligations on the President, serves as a major limitation that the executive is under a duty to faithfully execute the federal laws and not disregard them. And as you see, he has disregarded them. And this is to the senator. But to make it more official, we'll throw this up as this. Yeah. That, went to the Senator Todd Young. Says, please explain what you would like for Senator Young to do on your behalf. Call a press conference informing the public of the checks and balances. Petition because the Judicial Branch imposed slavery, oppression, denying the First Amendment right to speech press, and Treasury owes $6.75 billion immediately for the judicial branch's corruption. President Joe Biden and Congress are obligatory both morally, that's the code of ethics, and by law for the checks and balances which are mandatory by law to be proven before a candid world. Yes, as I am a political figure, I represent we the people, and I come to prove this before a candid world, for all the world to know. Now, as I said, that's just Senator Young. Did not take this to the Senate. President Andrew Johnson and William Clinton, who y'all know as Bill Clinton, were impeached by the House, at least in part, for allegedly violating their take care duties. This is his number one duty. The law has to be executed. At a minimum, the president may neither breach federal law nor order his subordinates to do so. For this reason, Senator Todd Young is to take the Constitution checks and balances to the floor January 20th, 2022 to immediately and publicly address the checks and balances petitioned by me, veteran, yeah, you see that flag. I served in the United States. Fly guy, Air Force, yeah. So, now you have the president that concealed this. You have the senators concealing this. And let's see, now the office of Congressman Larry Bucshon. There you see, on their own papers here, take this to the floor. First, you, Larry Bucshon, failed to take my petition using the Constitution's checks and balances to the floor of the House. Do that today, December 16th, 2021. President Biden fails to address the checks and balances petition when the judicial branch is corrupt. Third, the Treasury owes $6.75 billion for imposed slavery prohibited by the 13th Amendment. And there you see that in writing. It is time to protest for the president to do his duty under Article 2, Section 3, to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. That's obstruction of justice. Now, this ain't just a white guys doing this. These are politicians. So now we have Black Caucus, Joyce Beatty. Yeah, that went to her. Reference to issues of interest to the black community. I'm empowered to stop inequality. That's what we all want. And as a public figure, being the petitioner of the Constitution's checks and balances, they must be checked. That's what the word checks, that's what it's representing, for them to be checked. The judicial branch had to be checked. So, issues of interest to the black community. That's equality, social justice, and stop police brutality using the Constitution checks and balances. This is how this is done. I told you about the wisdom of the elders. Now that's what you were supposed to do a long time ago. Come see us to see how this is done, because we got you where you is at right now. First there's A. Philip Randolph, when we're free and working on the trains to get us paid. Then there's Martin Luther King to get us education and good jobs and all that kind of stuff, and places in positions. So now, I'm the third part of this. I am Jesha Miller, petitioner of the Constitution's checks and balances to balance, oh well, we had a good word, balance the scales of justice in America, which have never been done. So you're wondering why you don't have equality. This stops inequality. That's what I'm telling you I'm empowered to do. Pay attention to what I'm talking. I said I got the power to do that. So now you need to protest to get equality. If you got equality, you don't worry about your voters' rights, because now you have your voters' rights. That stuff they wrote talking about, they going to decide. They going to, listen to what I'm saying now. Law students, they going to decide whether or not we have the right to vote in 2050, something like that. I know another 30 years from now, I know. But this is for the next generation. This is for your kids' kids, so they won't have to go through this. This is for the law schools to stand up and represent. If you're teaching law and you're turning your head to government corruption, then you're a part of that. Revert it back to the Maryland Doctrine of Exclusion to keep blacks subordinate, subservient. Yeah. That's part of it. Yeah, you get those jobs and everything, but that's a part of what they want you to do. It's work. Not a bad thing. But when you are entitled to $6.75 billion, the work's over. I done put in the work. Now it's showtime. As I said, this is to be proven before a candid world. All students, law students, if you ain't a student, you're supposed to be patriotic and stand up for the Constitution, of which they violate. You've seen the congressman, you've seen it, the senator, you've seen it, Black Caucus. Ain't none of them standing up for you to get equality. Here it is, the Black Congressional Black Caucus. I already showed you who this goes to. Now look, Black Caucus Executive Director Vincent Evans, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty is the chairperson. Darrell Doss, Policy Director. Reference to impose obligations on President Joe Biden concealing the Constitution's checks and balances. They must be checked. This is to be proven before a candid world. It's criminal, pursuant to Title 18, Section 241, conspiracy to deny rights and oppress, with the Treasury owing $6.75 billion for continued oppression. This started at $50 million. So if it got to $6.75 billion, common sense gonna read in. They had no intentions of doing this. They ain't got no intentions of honoring the Constitution checks and balances now. It's why I'm calling y'all out. It's time to protest. It's time to stand up. It's time to be American. It's time to be a man. That's what we do in America. That's our First Amendment right to speech press. But in speech press, the judges deny this. You can go and see this. You gotta pay attention now. If you go to the FBI ray.blogspot.com, and it's spelled W-R-A-Y because the FBI director's name is Christopher Wray. That's the FBI Ray that they're doing it, and they concealed the Constitution checks and balances. He must be removed from office. You see why the president is concealing this? It's because you got the United States Attorney General, the #1 law officer in the land, who has concealed the Constitution checks and balances. There it is, certified to Merrick Garland, certified to Attorney General Merrick Garland. And then we bust out a third one, Merrick Garland, United States Attorney General. If the United States Attorney General, the top law enforcement officer in the land, has concealed the checks and balances, and why? Because I am empowered to stop inequality. So they want to keep you where you at. Don't get nothing confused. It ain't nothing going around the block, over the hill, or through the mountain. This is what they've been doing all through the flick. So, as I said, same situation, ain't nothing changing. You need rearranging. New faces in places, the wisdom of elders. The way it needs to go down. Time for a showdown. This has to be proven before a candid world. Now, to shed more light on this, I'm going to tell you corruption all through the government. Here you go. Transfer of power. Oh, y'all didn't know this. In the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, when the government becomes corrupt, then the framers of the Constitution knew this was going to happen. They call it inevitable. Certain to happen is what it means. So it is right now, and you got all law enforcement acknowledge the Constitution checks and balances, empowers the citizen by corrupt officials acting in defiance of the law of the land. It's time for y'all to protest, for the president to do his duty. Now, I'm going to give you a quick fact right here about the Maryland Doctrine of Exclusion. The Council of the Maryland Colony Ethics stated, neither the existing black population, their descendants, nor any other black shall be permitted to enjoy the fruits of white society. The doctrine was written to ensure that blacks will remain subordinate, non-competitive, non-compensated workforce. This public ethic later became more commonly known as the Doctrine of Exclusion. They brainwashed y'all to think that we was excluded from this, but I'm telling you, I'm a public figure. I am the petitioner of the Constitution checks and balances. I'm in the game. It's a showdown. They best man being United States Attorney General Merrick Garland against me to prove this before a candid world. I proved this before a candid world that the entire judicial branch of government is corrupt. Some of these senators and congressmen, as I showed you, the president has not done his duty under Article 2, Section 3 to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. What he has done. And not to evade it. He didn't evade it, concealed it. All of these are criminal acts. I'm trying to tell you what's happening. It is time for you students to get on the front line and protest for the president to execute his number one duty. Took an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. He has not done that. It is time for a protest this February 10th. Like I said, Georgetown and University in Washington need to be in front of the White House. Others in the different parts of the country need to be protesting in front of the TV stations that have concealed this from the public. That's right. Now, as I said, this Black Caucus, checks and balances, the Black Caucus, the same ones that said they were supposed to be representing you. Nah, that ain't what they did, that ain't what they doing, and you can see they have not done it. Checks and balances are mandatory by law and extremely important to uphold the integrity of the Constitution. Common sense let it kick in right about now. Because if they are not checked, then there is no integrity. As a matter of fact, for y'all that don't know and didn't ever know, they were supposed to be checked every 20 years to make sure they ain't doing this kind of stuff. They ain't been doing it, so for 400 years we've been up under this oppression. Well, it's showtime. And I represent we the people. I have the evidence to prove before a candid world. And this stops inequality. You want to be equal, you need to stand up. You need to get on the front line, students. Get out there, put up them protest signs. Hear me well. And I gave you instructions on what to do as the president. Either he does this and what I just told you. It calls for his impeachment. If a president does not uphold the integrity of the Constitution, then he cannot be the leader of a free people. The media throws all of these diversions before you. The president doing it, the president doing it, the president doing that. Why ain't the media saying nothing? Okay, so you see, we should have something over here for them too. Oh yeah. As filed. Here we go. Those are criminal acts of which Senator Todd Young did. Law enforcement ain't doing their job. They ain't on it. So all of those law enforcement officers that do not execute the indictments for them as they have broke the law, they got to go too. That's a conspiracy of what they have done in America all these times, all these years. But it's showtime now. Yeah. The Creator has said, get your foot up off their neck. Stop all of that. Truth must prevail. So in order for the truth, y'all got to go out here and, as I said, you have to protest. And the checks and balances, last thing I'm going to say, it tells you why you need to get out there and protest. Not just being black. See, whites want the First Amendment right too. And that's speech press. And the speech press is to expose government corruption, expose corrupt officials. And it says here, without the system of checks and balances, there would be a constant struggle between the President, Congress, and the Supreme Court. Well, no, there was no struggle. They all went in cahoots to do what they're doing right now. As I showed you, the president, that's Congress, and the United States Supreme Court. And the United States Supreme Court was presented with the checks and balances and refused to be checked. What do you do when you're refusing to be checked? You must be guilty. What do? The book says they do evil in the darkness. The darkness being you not being knowledgeable of what's going on. It comes to fruition when it comes to light. Then that's where I said, I proved this before a candid world. Weak inequality, stops social injustice, and stops police brutality. Need I say more? Get on the front line. It's time to stand like men. Women included. Yeah, this is for y'all's children not to have to go through this. This is to run a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, of which the framers empowered the citizen, and that be me. I'm that man, Veteran Jesha Miller. Once again, I say students, it's time to stand up, get on the front line, and as y'all have seen everything here, especially for the incarcerated, 85%, that was all in the plan. Now, it says here, I'm David Colley. He is the judge. At this point, there is no black people in the jury, and there were no black people in the jury panel. We have a right to object to that. I can tell you I don't believe the law will support it. Now, common sense gonna tell you, if it ain't no people in the jury panel, it ain't gonna be no people, black people on the jury. Come on, man. Now you go, I said the law will not support it, and the judge is being told this. My clients objects to the fact that none of the veneer men nor the jury are black people. And that is based upon an assertion that he is entitled to a jury of his peers. This is what you're supposed to have when you go in there as a black man. The component of race should be included in the concept of peers. The fact that there are no black people within this veneer, I think this causes this jury not to be a jury of my client's peers. Now, they got a little muddy on that, didn't they? So we gonna, what we do in the mud. Once again, the trial transcripts. By that I mean I don't think Indiana's in full compliance with the federal government motor voter registration law. As a result of that, we don't get a fair cross-section in the veneer. And as a result of that, my client's rights under the federal and state constitution to a fair and impartial jury as mandated, meaning mandatory through the 14th Amendment and through the federal legislation, I think that's been violated. And this is what you just showed Judge David Colley, and guess what he says? Show it overruled. You have a judge overruling the state and the federal constitution. It is time for y'all to get on the front line and protest for the Constitution checks and balances. And this is how we get justice. Major League Baseball, y'all said y'all was going to do this. Where's my support? Yeah, and I need some money, man. We got to stand up till I get my money, man. Okay, so we supposed to get the money. Then, yes, the president is supposed to execute the law. As he sued what I just showed through here, and I'm saying there is a violation, Your Honor. And the court, being the judge, David Colley, show it overruled, sir, okay? We're going to start. He just overruled the federal and the state constitution. You got the president not honoring the Constitution checks and balances, which opposes the integrity. You got senators and congressmen failing and refusing to take this to the floor of the House and the Senate. It is time for the people to stand up. This is reason for a protest. Number one is all Americans need to uphold the integrity of the Constitution, and you must stand on that. To stand on that, you got to get out there on the front line and protest. Students, y'all are our front line. Get out there with those signs. President must execute his number one duty, imposed obligations. He's obligated to do this. Article 2, Section 3, to take care that the laws are faithfully executed as you see by the Constitution checks and balances He has failed to see that the laws are faithfully executed. The Constitution, checks and balances, uphold the integrity. Need I say more? Protest, February the 10th. That's right. The colleges and the students, the people, the black people, everybody on Washington in front of the White House protesting that the president executes his duty. And like I said, for all around the world, in front of those TV stations to give coverage because they concealed it. Yeah. Y'all wondering why they concealed it? Because then they get to publish and put on whatever they wanted to put on. And as you see, it is not in your interest that they are caring about. When the United States Supreme Court is corrupt, that's a public concern for all America. Thank you. Protest, February 10th. Y'all know what to do. Post up. I am a public figure, empowered to stop inequality, social injustice, and police brutality. And as I showed you, there's a transfer of power, law enforcement, and I'm your new boss. Thank you.